Welcome to Waves 2025 World Audio, Visual and Entertainment Summit. Before this, it was a wonderful fun and learning session, and we're going to amplify it further, even much more. Please, with a round of applause, please welcome Mr. Abhaydeep Sahota, Account Executive of Digital Transformation, Media and Entertainment of Microsoft. A round of applause, please, for Abhay.
Thank you everyone for your time. Firstly, I hope you're all enjoying day 2 at Waves. Really appreciate you all giving us about 45 minutes to an hour listening to what we have to present. I'm Abhaydeep, like Ayush mentioned, here to share what Microsoft platform can contribute towards your media supply chain and enhancing what you're doing today, make it better, make it faster. So that's what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes. Then we have Harsha here from Prime Focus Technologies, who's going to talk about a very specific and a very relevant use case, building snackable content powered by Microsoft AI platform and how that can enhance what you're doing today. So firstly, I think we can all agree that all industries have been impacted by AI more positively than negatively. There's obviously transformation that's happening across the value chain of media, starting with pre-production planning, where we essentially have scripting, scheduling being augmented by what was being done traditionally with the help of AI. We have production automation where summaries or digital characters and image recognition now being done seamlessly. It's not that these things were not done traditionally, but it's just more accurate, faster, and something that can be used in production pipelines now. Distribution and AI operations, you can essentially do metadata tagging. You can identify various aspects of a video, of an audio, of an image, reuse this content just by the virtue of you having so much metadata around your specific content. Dubbing and localization, something which we've all relied on humans to do, is a time-taking and a cumbersome and a cost-intensive project. You can now essentially synthesize voice, create digital clones, and at the cost of lesser than what was done before. The good part about these technologies or these products is that you can do all of what was done before, but at a lower cost. Of course, if you look at some of the use cases that are already adopted in the media supply chain, if you look at the x-axis, you'll see the use cases evolve from simpler and evolving towards a more complex deployment. And if you look at the y-axis, what you'll observe is there are 3 broad categories that these use cases are segmented into. Number 1 is reduce cost, which is a bottom line focused approach. Grow revenue, which is a top line focused approach. And of course, making sure you have user retention as a top key priority for the organization. When it comes to reducing costs, transcriptions, speech to text, building captions for a particular audio or a video file, subtitling, converting images to text and building these captions was stuff which has been done for a number of years now. It's more accurate now, faster now, and at your fingertips with the products and tools that are available in the market today. When it comes to growing revenue, you can essentially create new images, new videos. These may not be production ready and you may not be able to take this to market in the first go, but these are very, very good first drafts. When it comes to voice dubbing, there are services that I'll talk about which can help you clone your voice. Obviously, ethical AI is a key focus for us, and we ensure that is in place, but you can clone your voice, have various lip-synced video translations done into multiple languages. And when it comes to insight, which is a little more complex and requires much more customization to your specific projects and your specific customers, you can essentially do churn prediction. You can enhance the performance of your existing tools, and you can personalize the content that you're targeting your specific customers with. Now I'm going to talk about the Azure AI services, the Microsoft Cloud Azure AI services, which can help you do all of the use cases and the projects that we just spoke about. It's essentially a combination of, or a wide variety of tools available to you, readily available to you by just going to a website and signing up with a subscription, which can help you do all of the things that I spoke about. Let's look at Azure Bot Service. This is essentially built on the Azure Bot framework, which helps you build language language-based bots, something like a customer support bot for your managing your customer requests, or something like a marketing automation bot which can enhance or augment your marketing campaigns. Vision, for example, can help you detect emotions from images, help detect the specific characters in a particular video, and it can even tag a number of metadata recognized from these images to be able to reuse these images at a later point. There is tons and tons of data that organizations collect today, and it just goes into a dump once it's used once. But what if you were able to reuse this data at relevant touch points when you're doing similar or opposite campaigns at a later date? That's what vision services can help you with. Speech services, like I spoke about, content pipelines or dubbing pipelines, which can help you translate to wide variety of languages. In India, let's take an example. You can have your language translated to 22 plus languages, which also includes languages from the Northeast, so that you can essentially broadcast your content and take it to markets that have not seen that content. So a film that was made in a language from the South can be taken to a market in the Northeast and in a language that is relevant and understandable to them, along with lip syncs, which gives like a great experience instead of going through all of the captions and subtitles historically. I want to talk about AI search and video indexer a little bit. These are services which help you gain a lot of insight from your existing videos, your existing audios, and your existing documents. You're able to generate a lot of insight and metadata from this content to then reuse it at a later date. Now, all of these services are essentially built and hosted on the Azure Superscaler supercomputer infrastructure, which is present across 61 regions. And one of the core aspects which is fundamental to the organization is security. What we're doing is every year we're investing tons of money, $1 billion plus amount of money focused on cybersecurity efforts to ensure that all of the data, all of the services that you're using are secured first and then focused on projects. If you look at the amount of security professionals as well as the amount of signals Microsoft processes daily, what that ensures is your data is protected at an application layer, at a network layer, at an identity layer, and even at a core infrastructure layer. It's at the end of the day a trusted cloud provider so that you're comfortable using such services like speech, text, image, and so on and so forth. One of the very interesting facts or findings that I wanted to share with this group today that may be very, very relevant to you is just like how some of you may be using multiple search engines or multiple copilots or Gorks or multiple social media websites. Similarly, organizations today are using not just one model. 0% of the organizations in the world are experimenting with just one model. If you look at the figures, there are 36% of the organizations today who are experimenting with more than one AI model. And interestingly, or actually factually, and at least 5 models are being used by 30%, 29% of the organizations. What that means is we're not just depending on one AI model to be able to do the projects or use cases, solve for the stuff that we just spoke about. You can essentially rely on multiple models, and given the speed at which models are getting enhanced and are getting improved, you essentially need to. Now, what happens when you're using multiple models is there is a need that arises which needs you to evaluate all of these models and compare these models to ensure that the specific use case or the project that you want to deliver is being served by the right model in the market. What does that need you to do? You essentially should be able to compare these models at a get-go speed because you have one model getting launched every few weeks now. GPT 4.1 was launched just 2 weeks back. You have a new image model that was launched just 2 days back. So which one do you use? Do you use a GPT 4 Turbo, which was launched almost 6 months back, or do you use a vision model which has been existing for a number of years now? How do you compare which model should be the right model for your use case? You compare these against various parameters, against quality, against speed, against latency, against the model output itself. And that's where Azure AI Foundry comes in. This is a one-stop shop solution that can that is basically collecting all of these various services. It's providing you a model catalog, which is a collection of more than 1800 models today, 1860 plus and counting. You can gain access to any and every of these models, deploy them, and readily use them even today, just by going on to ai.azure.com. And what do these models look like? You have anywhere from a OpenAI model that we're all familiar with now, to a Mistral model, which is more contextual to European language, or to a small language model like a Microsoft Phi, which is Microsoft proprietary model. Now, the Azure AI Foundry gives you a development toolkit, which includes the Copilot Studio, the GitHub, and all of your Azure AI Foundry SDK. And it gives you access to the services and the content safety filtering that Microsoft has enabled to be able to deploy the AI development lifecycle. Now, all of this, I'm going to give you a quick glimpse of what that looks like and what are the models that you can access here. And then I'm going to pass it to Harsha to take you through the specific of one of those use cases. You can access models like I said, the OpenAI family, models like JAIS. JAIS G42 is a family of models which is fine-tuned for Arabic languages. So in case you were delivering for a company which is based out of UAE, Middle East, anywhere in the Middle East, you would essentially go to a JAIS model, build a voice bot for them which can take queries as a lead generation engine. If you were to use an NVIDIA model, that's also something that's available. So like I said, there is 1800 plus models which are available today that you can use off the top. Either deploy them on your own compute or use them as a service, as an API through the Foundry Hub itself. It's a partner-focused engine. It's a partner-focused orchestration layer with a core focus on building with partners and hosting their relevant models for the market. And I think that's a great segue to introduce one of those partners today. Prime Focus Technologies is here and represented by Mr. Harshavardhan Nayak. He'll be taking you through a pipeline of how you could create snackable content with the help of Prime Focus offerings, which are built on top of Azure AI. Over to you, Harsha.
Thank you, Abhay, for the insights. And my name is Harsha. I represent Prime Focus. So we are one of the Microsoft partners, like Abhay said. And Abhay spoke about a lot of these foundations of how you build AI technologies, which they have built to give you the foundation of what you need to do. Now, the next step is how do you use in your everyday life when you're creating content, right? So that's what I will speak about today. So what is it that we are going to talk about is, if you look at your overall content, then there are different teams, and obviously there are different business processes, and then there are outlets. These outlets are linear, VOD. Your outlets are today more of social media, and there could be other outlets that you're dealing with. Now, in all of these chains, your own content teams within the content pipeline, whether it's in-house or whether you have outsourced, are dealing with a lot of post-production and your content supply chain kind of activities. And these business processes ultimately impact your overall business lines. Now, where do we come in is we have a product which is called Clear, or the entire platform branding is called Clear. And that is leveraging a lot of these foundation models that Abhay spoke about, which is where these AI agents and applications come in. Okay. And what that means to do is, our role is for our people who are dealing with us, our customers, to help them increase their productivity or decrease their costs or unlock their revenues. So Abhay spoke about that. Take a bottom line approach, then a mid line approach, and then a top line approach. So these three things is where we come in and impact those things for you, right? So how do you do that? Today, if you look at your overall content creation process, and speaking about this snackable content creation, you have multiple challenges. A, the content has exploded widely. The consumption has shifted. Today, people have a lesser attention span, as we know. The devices have grown. The platforms, which are new digital platforms, have grown. Like TikTok, Snaps of the world, they have all grown to leaps and bounds. There are hence a lot of video deliverables that you need to manage, meaning the short form content, the mid form content, the long form content that you need to put out continuously on these channels or on these outlets. The other challenge is similarly to deal with all the image deliverables, right? So in when you're doing a post or a LinkedIn on a Facebook, wherever you go, you have all different size of aspect ratios. One of our customer posts like 50 different image dimensions because some they are supplying to Amazon, some they are supplying to a broadcaster, some they are putting on their social handles. So they need to create like thousands of images every day. Likewise, when you're doing this content creation, you also need to deal with your title, synopsis, and keywords, as we call it, right? So you have to have a title, you have to write a synopsis, but then you have to translate that synopsis in multiple languages. You have to use that synopsis to a shorter synopsis that can go on a Netflix versus Amazon versus somewhere else. So you need 150 words somewhere you need 300 words, somewhere you need 500. Then you talk about SEO optimization, which is the glory to your own content, because if your content is not optimized on these platforms, then you cannot get your viewers, you cannot get your subscribers. And hence you need to write hashtags, you need to write posts which are effective, which are more friendly for the users to consume. Lastly, you have to deal with a scaling challenge, right? So most of the teams who are creating content, whoever are the digital creators today, they're running with a team of 3 people, 5 people, 7 people, 10 people. But how long will you scale your teams just to do this? And can you focus on the creativity aspect of it rather than just doing mundane tasks which may not require your attention? So that's where you're dealing with a scaling challenge, and that's exactly where we come in to automate some of these things to help you create more content but more effectively and more scalably, right? So the idea to the delivery endpoint, this entire journey, there is either zero or a less automation way to deal with all of these things. Now that's where you have delivering this ROI through AI, right? And these agents that we are going to talk about today is like how do you use AI agents to get in action. So there are 3 kinds of things that you can look at. Like these agents can be divided in the media space in 3 types of ways. One is the conversation AI, where you could do a lot of search and actions using a chatbot kind of experience or a chat GPT kind of experience, but for your own content. Like chat GPT could give you something very generic in a text mode, but how do you deal with video? How do you deal with audio? How do you deal with all of those kind of things, specifically when you want to protect your IP and make it work only for yourself, right? It's not a general model that you want to put out on chat GPT and start using, because there's content piracy and all of those kind of things which also are needed. So the second part is the content studio, which is the second kind of agent where where there is a creativity coming in to help you act as a co-worker alongside you. So if there's an editor, there's a producer, they are trying to ideate something, they want to create more content more meaningfully, effectively. They don't even know what has been shot and what to find where and how to select content. That's where this comes in. And then the third bucket is the content automation, which is purely looking at your content pipeline and can I automate some of these things easily. For example, if somebody is doing compliance or S&P and content moderation, like somebody is putting slangs, cuss words on a Facebook, so can this agent go and find out where that is? Because it's inhumanly not possible to go and each and every website or check every place what's that about, or to look at your content where there's nudity, vulgarity, or something else, right? So those are the kind of tasks where this supply chain co-worker comes in and automates a lot of these kind of things. So then it becomes your personal content assistant to help you create this content. And the applications layer that you see could be your own or could be some of our own platforms where these agents are collaborating or interacting with whatever you're playing with. Let's say your editing interface, let's say your post writing interface, or wherever this data set might sit is what you're interacting with, and hence create a world where these AI applications are more relevant for the post production and for the entire content pipeline and the supply chain. So we have obviously created a number of these agents over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years. We have used partners like Microsoft where we have created a lot of these things. So these again are divided into this discovery and actions, content studio and automation. And how do you get to a point where you can create something meaningful for social, or how can you create a lot of highlights, automated highlights in sports? For example, when you're watching T20s and every day there are three T20 games ongoing in an IPL, or two T20 games happening, or somebody who has rights for sports and multiple such sports, how do you scale there to create this content effectively where Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, everyone is doing something and you want to catch all of that and create content? Likewise, Reframe is another solution which is for resizing your content from horizontal to vertical mediums using these AI applications that we look at. Supply chain, I just told you, which is looking at blacks, color bars, tones, all of these kind of things which could be present in a broadcast type content. It could be compliance, it could be ad markers, it could be anything that you want to send out to the market, which is where in that journey AI comes and helps. And these are technologies that we have created. So, like I said, we have like 7+ years of investments gone into this, 9+ patents, over 350,000 hours of content processed, proven in terms of the things. Multiple small models that we have, our own models, and multiple large language models and partners like Microsoft, where we use these kind of technologies. Many customers that you see here on the right hand side are already onboarded to using some of these technologies. I have not listed everyone in the list, but yeah, you can see some of the prominent names who are already using these kind of tech. So what does this mean for your marketing, your social, your content creation journey? Is essentially you look at a ideation to your fulfillment journey, and this is, you start with a brief, then there are different things. You need to search for the content, find what is where. You then need to assemble and edit that content. Then you need to do a review of that content, resize that content, write this title, synopsis, keywords, all of these kind of activities, and finally deliver it to end platforms, right? So in that journey, where do we come in? So in the search, you can have a conversational search to find clips effectively more relevant. In the assembly and edit, you can use auto generating snackable assets and compilations which are already found by the AI. You just have to pick the content. Then in the review, you can, during your production processes itself, you can compare the videos side by side. You can note down what's your grading difference, where is the color mismatch, where is, if you're in the production cycle. If you're moved from the production cycle, then you're talking about the end cycles where you are just doing review but not through a human thing. You are doing the AI reviews first, and then somebody comes and confirms those things. Likewise, reframing for the resizing of the content, both for images and videos, going out for multiple ratios, title, synopsis, keywords, which is where the AI can generate a lot of these things for you. So where I'm getting with all of this is there is a base camp, and this base camp earlier was not even present as a foundation for any of us. 7-8 years back, if you had asked about this was not even a journey. But today, where you stand is, we call it a base camp to your summit, and that base camp to summit journey looks a little like this. Meaning, you to have your snackable content created, you need to have a scene lifts done. You need to have a topical compilation or a story created. You need to have a multi-episode story or multiple types of stories, which comes from ideation to a clip sequence, and then you get to a place where you have highlights agent or promo agents which can create a lot of these things for you, which is your mid summit. And then we are getting to a point where for sports and these kind of high octane content, you get to a complete automation, because when a live sports is going on, for regular recorded content you can still do your cuts, but when you are in the pressure of time, how do you do this automatically in the sports area? That's where your summit comes in, right? um, so we have taken inspiration from our own journey, because we have a lot of operations team who were doing a lot of these kind of things in a traditional way, shall I say. And these traditional ways was, if it was for our own localization team, we used to do a subtitling, dubbing, all of these kind of activities in different languages, whether it is Indian languages or foreign languages. But all of this was happening just manually. right? And we could not possibly just update our offices to each part of India or each part of the world. That doesn't scale. So how do you bring in these AI interventions? So we started doing experiments with our own teams using these techs and started using a lot of these things. So the creative services is where we will focus on, but I'm just calling this out as different examples in the supply chain area, in the localization area, or in the creative space itself. Like how do you so we have realized a lot of benefits. The use cases here on the left side basically tell you that how do you create a snack asset, scene lift, cut down, shots, auto generate all of this, reframing. So these are the use cases that you're seeing on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you're seeing some of the customer examples where we have actually given these benefits. The first one being YouTube content creation for a large broadcaster in India actually, and their revenue was at a certain stage, their subscribers were at a certain stage. Now within 8 months of using our platforms and tools and other things, they have gone like 22x. So you can see the numbers as well. So I, public forum, obviously I cannot share who the customers are, but you can see that subscriber augmentation went to 3x, the uploads went to 8x, revenues went to 22x, all within a ROI of and a span of 18 months from where they were, right? So significant revenue uplifts. Second, similarly on the savings on reframing, resizing of the content, and savings on reviews, approvals in the production cycles, 50% cost reduction and turnaround task reduction in the published tasks, whether it's personalized highlights, whether it's summaries, whether it's the options to utilize multiple thumbnails. So today, that's where we stand in this journey, and I'm going to show you a quick video about 5-7 minutes long, so that whatever you have listened comes to fruition, because I don't want you to get bored either. So you will see a video now.
Hello, welcome to Clear AI. Unlock deeper insights, create engaging content faster, and boost monetization opportunities like never before. Let me show you how. Clear AI automatically identifies and catalogs scenes, clips, and frame-level data to provide synopsis, technical specs, cast and crew details, etc. Important scenes, key moments, and thumbnails are readily available here, making it easier than ever to create and publish content packages on social media. Deep metadata feature automates the time-consuming manual tagging process by making content more searchable, accessible, and adaptable. Imagine, as a content creator, you need viral clips from a show or movie. Instead of watching the entire episode, just ask Converse to find clips for you. The agent has analysed and found relevant clips and presented them with logical reasoning.
You had some too much chili. You got really red.
Like a few clips? Instantly ask the agent to create a project in Content Studio. With Gen AI, we have built intelligent AI agents that can perform numerous tasks. The agents combine the brainpower of Gen AI's LLM with the ability to execute tasks. Tweak the timeline as you please. And once you're happy with the edit, ask the agent to whip up interesting titles, synopses, and keywords that you can directly post to social media. Ask the agent to generate eye-catching thumbnails and download them directly. Next, let's explore compilations. These are automatically generated and ready-to-use video segments to help content producers create compelling videos. No more tedious manual searching through hours of footage. Compilations are topics, key moments, dialogues, and clips based on pre-defined keywords, which are customizable. With the Add to Project icon, instantly create videos or promos for social media publishing. You can select an existing project or simply create a new one. The AI-generated Insights tab delivers valuable information like automated summaries, fresh post ideas, and key plot points, empowering content creators to quickly grasp their content and spark new creative directions. Head over to AI-generated thumbnails and instantly download optimized versions for any platform. Need a power-packed vertical reel that's ready to explode on social media? Use Converse to find interesting clips and ask the reframe agent to intelligently reframe the video for different platforms. The agent can search for clips from across multiple assets. On preview, let's say I get a new idea and want to create an energy-packed video of the protagonist from the Reacher series. Converse can help with that.
You have the idea in terms of where this is going with all of this, so the reframe and other things. We do multiple things overall in the media industry. We just showed you one piece of it, which is around the snackable content creation, but there are many other segments within the media industry where these tools and technologies are deployed already. And many and I think we are at a point where India is the melting pot, the largest population, so many content creators, so many people who want to be in the digital space, everyone trying to be digital India and make in India, create in India kind of things. So it's all up to us as to whether to adapt to this, make it more successful, take it to the global industry, or just doing things in the traditional way that we have been all doing. So I'll just end with one more slide where essentially so far what I have been saying is boiling down to these three things: time, money, and more automation to give you scale, not to take people's job, but to get to a space where you have a co-pilot, you have different interfaces built into your everyday application, even to the point where you have WhatsApp and you are asking things to WhatsApp, tell me this, tell me that. Now that saves you time, increases the content output without increasing your efforts, reaching wider audiences, obviously enhance engagement, and then stay consistent with faster turnaround times because that's the need of the hour. So with that, I want to end the session. Happy to speak to you, all of you guys offline. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much, Harshavardhan. Thank you so much to Abhideep as well. And guys, thank you so much for joining in once again.